The rollercoaster ride that is cryptocurrencies has captured the imagination of the fintech world. Facebook has been one of the latest to come on the scene. It's getting ready to launch its own digital coin Libra next year, although it's been hampered by questions over its regulation. In fact, the issue of crypto regulation will be discussed at a compliance conference here in Singapore. Now, for more on this, Malcolm Wright, Chief Compliance Officer at digital solutions provider Diginex, is one of the speakers, and he joins us now. Thanks, Malcolm, for coming in.
Thank you very much, Steve. Good to be here.
So first, let's, for the uninitiated, a quick 101 on what is a cryptocurrency.
It's really a digital representation of value that can be digitally traded or transferred, or used for payment and investment purposes. So perhaps the most common one that viewers will know is Bitcoin. But equally, there are new sort of financial vehicles that are coming. So being able to sell debt and equity in a company, or to sell real estate in a different way using something called security tokens.
Okay, now we mentioned Facebook just now, a big mainstream company sort of taking the leap into this space. We know that China is as well also making moves in Bitcoin, in cryptocurrencies. Is this just the norm going to be the norm going forwards? There's no turning back, I presume? Well,
I think we're moving into a digital world. And as we do so, I think it's only natural that we see countries start to adopt a digital currency. A digital representation of their currency, but equally, and really that's for numerous benefits. So there are benefits to the economy, there are benefits to efficiency and things like that, but that can also be applied at a corporate level, at a company level, or an investor level to sort of really see benefits from utilizing the same technology in the way that investments are handled and so forth, that can really make companies operate more efficiently, can make markets operate more efficiently. And I think that that can be a real benefit throughout the entire financial ecosystem.
Not all countries are as sort of open or forward-thinking as China when it comes to this, so there is some concerns, especially when it comes to regulation. Are those concerns founded?
I think I'd like to draw on here sort of like the MAS's progressive approach. So even today there was a statement at the conference that I was at, and at that statement they were talking about the use of advanced technologies being able to manage that. We have the regulation that comes into force in Singapore next year, and that will help to introduce this level of sound regulatory approach that I think will be required in order for the institutions to adopt. But at the same time, I see that this is an industry that is maturing, and we're starting to see cryptocurrency become something that is now mainstream, and along with it, the digital assets.
Okay, so you don't see any concerns that maybe smaller nations may have that their currencies may not have the same value, perhaps, if cryptocurrencies become more mainstream?
I think it will come down to the way in which regulation is introduced. So again, it's back to how the regulation is approached and ensuring that there are a robust and sound financial environment in which the countries can operate.
Okay, and traditional and digital banking, or do traditional and digital banking have to be oppositional? I mean, I suppose the way you're describing it, it has to be something that moves forward together. So they complement each other in your eyes?
I think there's lessons to be learned from both sides. So if you looked at the traditional financial system, there's a wealth of experience, and this is how Diginex was born, from this wealth of financial services experience. As we take that through to the digital banking or the crypto banking world, then we see perhaps more of a technology-driven approach. Those two worlds need to come together in order to be able to provide that robust system, and then it has to be surrounded by solid regulation and robust compliant regulation that these new firms will be able to really comply with and wish to comply with.
Now, you mentioned Bitcoin earlier. They were one of the earliest and biggest sort of cryptocurrencies out there at the moment. A lot of volatility happened as well with them when speculators sort of got into, sort of cottoned on that money could be made from speculating on cryptocurrencies. Do you see that going forward that will happen less as they become a bit more functional, perhaps, and less as an investment opportunity?
I think what we're seeing, as I mentioned earlier, is the maturity of the industry. So we have seen at Diginex the institutional investors really suggesting to us that there's a lack of institutional products and infrastructure that they can invest into. So we're seeking to build, or we are building out, that infrastructure that will enable institutional firms to really start to invest properly and securely, and supporting regulators on that journey as part of that to make sure that the appropriate regulation is in place. that will really allow for the industry to mature, and I believe that this is happening as we speak. And we're already starting to see the bigger players, such as JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs, making statements around the new digital asset environment. So there are investors waiting to invest, it would appear.
Okay, so watch this space. Thanks so much for coming in and chatting with us. Chief Compliance Officer at digital solutions provider Diginex.